exquisite tuning this guitar has. It's incredible. With very few guitars in the world you can play these passages of 10 chords and sound accurately in tune, because it's in different zones of the fretboard. And with the new division of frets this has, this is just the most accurate tuning ever existed, only comparable with house or finest guitars. And in flamenco, of course, this is the first time that the guitar tunes properly, so to say. I can prove it because gaps in the place of the fret placement are there in every Spanish guitar other than this. So the instrument, it has to not tell lies. Long time ago they said, esta guitarra miente, this guitar tells lies, because you play C and it's not giving you C, it's giving you another thing. Right? So all these factors impact our playing, tuning. If tuning is not there, I want to speak of beauty coming out of the instrument. This guitar is fantastic in tuning. And well, the sound is great. Very nice overtone. And this here has a very special tamouage back. In fact, this is varnished in French polish with the rosewood sides. So you know the guitar reflects its sound from the back out. In fact, this is the pair of this over here, which has just the opposite construction, but this is clear sides and dark back, and this one has clear back and dark sides. So it sounds different, all there are variations of it, but are sisters both. And of course this guitar has also 24 frets. 4 octaves. And it's in between, right? It's mild male, it's in between, and it has aspects of a negra also. And well, this wood is just beautiful. Look at the light it has inside, with a fantastic German spruce top and bridge, also maple bridge. This is a fretboard made of Brazilian boxwood. It's like a pau amarelo kind of thing, like the yellow wood, natural from Brazil. Very light, and it has a double fretboard, of course. Wittner could not be missing, because these pegs are the tuning system in flamenco. Long time ago we had to struggle with the wood thing, wooden pegs, you know, they were out of tune all the time, and but the guitars made with those pegs sound very well, and then in fact they sound better than the machine heads, because the other thing is very weighty metal. It has the walls. It's not in continuous, complete contact with the wood, as in this case. And this offers also a tuning capacity out of the world. So it's mechanical inside. Weather does not affect it. It turns left or right. They last forever. It's also another thing, that if the other day one friend broke one peg of the machine head, regular machine head things, now you have to buy a whole set of, because nobody will sell you just one peg of the machine head. So you have to buy the whole set of machine heads. I broke many because at some point those will break, because I change the strings every 2 or 3 days, so it will not last. So this is the bass side. I can wear it off in a few times, except for the very good ones, which last a little bit more. But this here is even more durable. And if one would break, which is close to impossible, because it's very resistant, then you can just replace one peg. So it's a great accessory. so easy to play with the 0 fret. And this, because you know, before in the past we had only, let me show you with the guitar to really say the thing here. That before, well, you know, the traditional flamenco guitar had only bone saddle here, and also in the bridge, which means that your sound in open string is bone against bone in the bridge, and whenever you play any fret, there will be metal against bone. So it is not even sound. Therefore, we like to use, in the past, some time ago, you know, flamenco players, to use the cejilla or use the capo to get a bit of brightness because of the metal thing with the bone, which you cannot get when you play a light or open strings. Well, this is what was in the past, not anymore, because since AG created the only other different alternative in the whole world, no one thought about it, but the carbon fiber is a much better transmitter of the vibration. This here is so much better. It's an obsolete thing. Those saddles, they are bones, obsolete, ugly, and dull matter. In fact, they sound. We have one here just to show you what's the sound of that. So this is the difference. Bone and the other is 3 times, 4 times weights more. This is the sound of the bone, and this is the sound of the carbon fiber. That's it, we don't need to say anything else. Then also, because in this guitar, with the 0 fret, not only you have a super comfort playability on this song, which always were struggling there, you know, to hide the saddles generally in Spanish guitars. And except this here, because with the 0 fret, not only is it's a great playability in this position, but you have an even tone. So I sound, if I put the cejilla, the capo, I will sound the same bright than if I play in the open without the capo, because I have metal and carbon fiber all over, from the open posture up to the 24th fret. So this is called evenness in tone. Your tone is not different a light open string than in any fret, because guitar should be even. Imagine if a grand piano would have certain notes, like say 6 of the whole keyboard, which sound different, or which have also different tension, because that's another thing, that inaccuracies on the bridge impairs our playing, because it creates these changes of tension and distances, which is ugliest thing. I learned this from Paco, and I'm very thankful that he revealed such a secret, which very few people know, and I realized how it's great that to have a perfectly accurate in measurements guitar, which reflects the beauty of playing the instrument. You really get inspired to play it, because it's crystal clear sound. So the guitar is just all the whole together, not just the top, but how it vibrates the neck. The neck is also, look how much you have to press here to get the note. It's with the minimum effort. key. You know, when you have the equal fretboard, all exact accurate, you can play chords in an octave up and sound same. You can play in any key, because before you have to be always compensating stuff, you know. Paco said some tricks like lower the second of the time a bit, and you have to be all the time compromising, because in which key is the piece? Typical question of guitarist in a band or in a group. Like, for other instruments it was awkward, very awkward, and mostly for piano players. When you have to play with a piano and there are inaccuracies in tuning, we have a problem in Houston, and no guitar has, in Spain, no guitar tunes except this. I can prove it. Even the best guitars, if you just measure the distances of the frets, this is the new fret placement of AG, the second revisited thing, and it has every fret smaller. Right? You just check your guitar, it may happen that you have a fret bigger than the previous one, going this direction, which means you will not tune. Even for half a millimeter wrong, this impairs the tuning. So tuning is very important, and if you're a beginner, even more, because then you create, everything is based on habit. Whatever guitar you practice every day, this is reference, and therefore you will be based on that only. And then therefore this is, of course, to choose between, say, factory-made guitars or a proper guitar, which not all handmade guitars are proper. This is a shame that sometimes these robots create more accurate things, and this is just because of laziness of the luthiers in Spain, which are cynical and money-based. This is my experience. And in AG it's all the opposite, because here this company actually was founded for the research, not to sell. Really, they don't need to sell. This is the reality. Whenever we buy a guitar from AG, they are doing us the favor to sell it, not that we are doing the favor to buy them. This is with any other luthier. This is the case, that you do the favor to buy the guitar. Here, I wish I had this 30 years ago. For 30 years, I played every brand, every guitar you can imagine. I have owned and played. I was never satisfied because of playability. Also, since this great change, the idea of Paco to have a balanced instrument and release the left hand from tension, ever since I started 3 years ago, I think, playing maple fretboard, I cannot play anymore a dark fretboard. It was too weighty and it's too hard. Why you have to make your life difficult and feel okay? This is masochism. At least I am not of that. In favor of that philosophy, not for playing for sure, because when you play you need to enjoy playing, and if the guitar is making trouble every time, you have to be fighting against the instrument instead of flowing. But you get this absolutely marvelous tuning right away with the first set of strings. Check the rosette, handmade with wood only. It's every guitar is an art, a piece of art, like in a sculpture really. I like this very much, and congratulations for the work. And this is 2020 models are coming amazing. Everything is. Look at these perflings. There is no sharp edge of square edge. Like We had all the time the marks here. We will have anyway, but not that you need to make another piece here like some classic Luthiers did. That's okay, but to put here a piece of wood, or even if it's not dodging, it contracts a bit the vibration. That's my opinion, right? But this here does not have a square edge, so any guitar maybe it's so easy to have this here and feel just happy and comfort, because actually the sound the sound does not come from the guitar really. The sound comes from how easy it is to play the guitar, because the moment you cannot flow on an instrument or causes trouble or even pain or God forbid injuries, left hand, right hand, because of overpressing, or I have plenty of people, seeing friends and who played a lot of time for years with very hard guitars, and then of course the habit of overpressing is there, and now the remedy is to play with a nice maple fretboard or one like this. This is not maple, this is a Brazilian boxwood. And this other idea of the scalloped part in this place, which prevents the too common and usual and promised break of the top here in the Spanish guitars in this side. Of course, center soundboard, because Simplicio, nobody made it anymore since the 20s. So this is the Pandora box opening now, with so many things to bring on favor of us players. The AG difference is here, guitars are made for the player, not as the luthiers like. Like this one luthier who knows, of course, more than people in Spain, and I made some series. I will post in the description 2 videos. One that explains how is related every part of the guitar, and other of this guy saying, well, when the customer comes and said, I want this and this and that, I get nervous because I do what I do. Yeah, what do you do? But your duty is to serve the player, not to do whatever you want and make his life difficult, right? If you have experience, you already know what I'm talking about. And if not, better save time. Because with a nice referral given by an expert, and I became an expert a long time ago. In this channel I have played 400 at least of these guitars. And how many do you think I have played of any other brand? I started this channel of YouTube only 10 years ago. But I played 40 years ago. So my father was also a guitar player, classical guitar player. And flamenco guitar player, but not so much as classical, of the time of Sabicas. So I see guitars from my childhood. I have seen anything there, Ramirez, this and that, the old ones, Hauser and whatnot. Because this idea of having now a mixture. First of all, Paco was inspired on the Hauser, classical German guitar, to make the Negra. Paco created them. One time he went with some friends, and they show him, check this, 2 Hausers, 1950, very great guitars, Palo Santo, and Negra, and then he played like this and said, oh wow, well, this has so much more presence, so you know what, this bass is very high and that, but we should definitively copy this and use the dark wood. And that's how he was inspired to create the Negra flamenco that everybody plays now. It comes from a German thing, not from a Spanish thing. Why? Because the Hauser is also like a Stradivarius, so it's a great personality, and he knew what to do, and the guitar sounds perfect, it's perfectly measurements, everything. You know how German people is accurate. And for generations they have made. So those guitars there, Paco was very inspired to see the tone, and then what happens, he eliminated Cypress forever. Because the so-called Blanca guitar, this also has some of Blanca, but check the difference from this compared to the dull cheap sound of the cypress, which has no dynamic range. It's just, that's why Paco, there's a reason why Paco created the Negra and eliminated the others. So now we have Simplicio, 0 fret, this, and a different fretboard. This Wittner pegs, which are marvelous, and the Simplicio design, which has a clear definition between bass, treble, and the lateral sound port, which offers a surrounding experience. So an extra flat bridge, which allows to have the percussive aspect of the guitar flowing more than the top SST. For if you have, actually, you know, the very definition of flamenco guitar was missing until AG came, which was redefining it. But Paco said the same, because if the bridge of classical guitar is a rosewood bridge, and the fretboard of classic guitar is ebony fretboard, and the flamenco, so-called flamenco guitar has the same. What flamenco is that? This is just very small variations. Actually, in that time there, and of course back in the 20s, and Domingo Estes and all these people, they only made 2 models, which were the rosewood one for classical, and the cypress one, which was cheaper, because the wood was cheaper. This is the only reason why that wood was so much around in the market, not because of the sound quality. Sound quality will be maple, for instance, or which what? There's a reason why Stradivarius and Jesus del Guarneri used maple for the violins. Why they didn't use cypress? It did exist there at the time. Well, they didn't need to save money, because the problem is when you do something with the intention to sell it, or because it has no love, just like if you eat a meal in McDonald's, let's say, or you go to some friends who have a good feeling for you, even our own family, our parents, how our mother or grandmother cooked something for us with love, and you take that love in the food. That cannot be obtained if you just buy a meal which was created to sell, with the purpose of selling it. And same happened with it. And that's why I'm saying that they are doing the favor to us. So I'm very grateful. Only thing I regret is that it took me 30 years to find my instrument. And definitively it's in the line of Simplicio, because every of these guitars is great. Check the third, this note here. So clean, and all the harmonics reflected, and accuracy. You really play F sharp, and it's F sharp really. Thanks very much for letting me do this small review, and congratulations, and thanks to everyone also to appreciate, those who appreciate this art, because this is art. And what's art is really solace from all the miseries of this world. And when you go to your place, in your house, and you sit there and practice anything at any level, it's not about level or you are advanced, beginner, whatever, but you play even one note, and you feel the presence of divine thing there from heaven to you, the sound. For recordings, that's what I do since I am doing this. First playing the TV in Spain several times with my students, but then ever since I had the fortune to start with these guys of the TV also, of Spain, doing the multi-screen recording, it's a great thing for composing, because you can really create the parts and then play with 3 or 4 guitars. And I always use only Simplicio guitars, because you can microphone this, with the microphones, you can do so many things that with the obsolete central sound port you cannot do, because it's unidirectional, very boring to me at least. And here you can, microphone can be here, can be up, can be another. So the options you have, if you know what is recording, and the signs of how to put a microphone on an instrument.